Alright, here's the windows from the kit. We'll be unpacking them and showing you what we're doing with them. Alright, now we got the windows to work on. And now that we got them out of the package, what we need to do is go through and file off any of these burrs that are on here. And I'll take the time and we'll clean all these windows up, and then we'll paint them and get them all sprayed. So right now I'll take my time, we'll clean up all these burrs and everything on the windows so they're nice and clean and crisp, and that'll be my next project. After I clean these, I'll paint them all up. Okay, here we're spraying our windows and we're just giving them a nice light dust coat. This is their second dusting, and it's with this glacier gray. Like I said, we don't need to go heavy on them. Give them a light coat, and we'll come back and we'll spin this around and we'll put a light coat on the other direction. Basically put about 3 nice light coats on it. Alright, now we got all our windows painted. We're going to need to make and cut the glass to go in these windows. And the easy way to do that is to take your window, actually set it down here like this. We'll take an X-Acto knife and we'll take it and we'll cut right on around the edge of the window. You got to make sure you keep it in place nice and steady. So we scribed it. What we did was we scribed on there, and I don't know how well you can see it, but now we can take and cut that out, and it will be a little bit bigger than the back of the window. You'll have to trim it slightly. Once you get the first one figured out to what you want, then you can come back and take the one that fits perfect, which is actually going to be slightly smaller than the one you traced, and just trace out the amount that you need. In this case, I needed 12 of them, so I've pre-etched them all on this sheet, and I will sit and cut out all 12 of my window pieces. And as you can see right in here, I have it etched. So now that I've got the right size, I got to sit and cut out all the windows. And I'll do the same thing for the large windows. We'll take that, we'll put it on our piece. We'll scribe out the window first, and then we'll take and very slightly cut it down so that it fits in the back side of the window. And overall, there's 32 windows for this kit, so I will be a while. And then I'll get back to you when we're ready to glue them in. Alright, now that I've got all these little window pieces cut, it's time to glue them all in. And get my window set in place. What I like to use is the super glue here. I think that's one of the easier ones. It's nice, it's a gap filling. What I do is put a little bit on a tray here, and then with a toothpick I'll go around the edges of the windows and put light dabs of glue in, and that'll hold my windows in place. Try to get it where it's not on the window itself looking out, but I think that's the easiest way to do some of these windows. Some of you might have better ways of doing it, but I find this is what works for me. Everybody has their little shortcuts for doing things. But anyway, that's how I do my windows. So I got 32 windows to glue. I'll see you when I'm done. Alright, now that I got all the walls brickwork done in everything, now it's time to do these trim pieces, which calls for a brighter red. What I'm going to use is Poly-S Pacemaker Red, and I will paint all those bricks in, and that's probably going to take me some time to do, but just sit here and detail in all these little bricks. It'll go up around this whole section. So this will dry a darker red than what it is right now, but it calls for this red to detail out this part of the building. Shows it is painted brick, more or less to what they did back in the day with some of them. So I'll go around, go through and get all the little detail. And I don't know if you can see where I'm at with this. Move the camera around a little. It's a little hard. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll put it like that. It's a little oddball of an angle for me, but hopefully you can see. Take a little brush here. I use an it's actually a 01 brush, which I'm using. But you can go along and paint your brick detail. So I'll go along, I'll get all this painted in, but that's the next step on this building, is getting all this little detail in. When I get all this done, then we're going to work on the windows. I'll probably paint the doors next before we do the windows. I got the bay door and the entrance door to do. So right now I'll go through and I'll get all these windows painted, and when I get back to you, you'll see them all finished. Okay, here's the windows. You can see as I've been working along and doing all the little detail. You'll notice I did the bottom window frames as well, and that brickwork looks really good. Alright, hi guys. Now that we've got the walls all painted and detailed out, I actually detailed the bottom and the windows and got all that done. Now what we need to do is I got to work on these tie plates. And these little tie plates go up along the walls here, and you got to cut them out of the styrene. You got to cut the backing plate. Then you have these very little itty bitty nuts and bolts, which I don't know if you can see them, but there's the detail that goes on the wall for the tie plate. So what I got to do is I got to take my scale rule, measure out 1 foot little squares on here. Then I got to drill them and drill the wall. You can pick up a scale rule like this. It's both for HO, S gauge, and O gauge as well. You got the O gauge side. So what we'll do is we'll measure out in 1 foot increment here. I got a mark there and a mark there. So we'll take that, get our lines lined up here for that 1 foot, and we'll score our piece across, getting our 1 foot that way. And then we got to go through and I got to make 1 foot little squares. All I can say is you try to do it the best you can. And it's going to take some time to do these. I've got quite a few to cut out. So I will get these all cut out and then we'll go on to the next. Alright, well, I went and started to cut these at what they say by 1 foot squares. They just looked way too big. So what I wound up doing is I wound up cutting them at what would be 9 inches in scale using the scale ruler. So the little 9 by 9 square looks a lot better. Now what I did was I took a toothpick and went along and put a little dot where every one of these little plates needs to go so that they're all in line with each other. What I need to do now is I have a number 26 drill bit. I think it comes out to 026. So what I need to do is I need to take the time and I'm going to drill each one of these out so that I can put my plate on like I did here with the nut. I'll get them all fit in place. Once I know I got them all fitting where I need them, then I'll come back and I will glue them all. I need to go down just about the length of these right in here, the length of the rod, which is 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch. So I'll drill all of these out on the walls and get them all glued in, and then I'll come back later and I will paint them a rust color. I'll probably paint them black first and then give them a rust color. But they should look pretty neat when they're done. Like I said, I just didn't like how big the squares were the first time, so I downsized them a little to make them look more appropriate. So I'll get these all drilled out. I've got the holes up top here. And I'll get back to you as soon as we get these all drilled and get them all ready to glue in. Alright, now that I got all them little holes drilled, now I've got to cut these little rivets off. And what I found works good is just take a little pair of dikes and we'll go along and cut them all off so we can glue them on. Get off of there. Some may say, oh, this is a boring process. And it's not that it's boring, it's very time consuming. Cut all them little plates up that I did. It took me probably an hour to cut them and drill them. And that was extremely time consuming in its own. You know, 16 holes I had to drill per each wall, and you know, on the 2 big walls, and then on the smaller walls there's 8 per, so there's 16 on those 2 other walls as well. It's a lot of little tie plates to go and drill out. So I got all those, and what we'll do is we'll take one of these little plates, we'll set it up by the hole here, kind of line it up, get it in place, and we'll take one of these, drop it in, and get it in place. I'm going to get everything set in place first. Once I know I got everything where I want them and looking like I want, then I'll come back and I'll glue them all in one by one. I'll use a good old toothpick, put some glue behind them and get them put in place. So that's our next step, is just work our way around and get all these little plates in place. And like I said, it's more time consuming than anything. Alright, now that I got all these truss rods cut and drilled, I got them set in place, and those little holes were a bugger, and getting them little rivets in them little holes is a real pain in the butt. It was time consuming. Alright, now that I got them all set in place and know where each one's going, now I can slowly pull them out one by one. And with my trusty toothpick, I put a little dab of glue down here. Now I can put a dab of glue there, and a dab of glue on the back. Slowly get these things set into place, one by one. Things are not easy. Find the hole there. Get my bolt set in place. Don't come out. Get it spun on the angle that I want. Get the nut set. There we go. So now I've got all the rest of these to glue in. We'll get all them glued in. Then I'll come back and we'll slowly paint each one, show you how that goes. Thank you guys for following. I know I've got over 40 hours just in this part of the project so far, but there will be a lot more to come, and I thank you. You can also check us out on O-Gauge Model Railroading's Tips, Tricks, and More on Facebook, as well as at our shop in Lansdale, where we carry a lot of parts and model supplies for your trains. Also, we carry new Lionel trains, American Flyer trains, HO trains as well. So you can check us out at Henning's Trains in Lansdale, PA. We are also on YouTube on Sunday nights on the Train Shop Weekly. We are there as well. And don't forget to hit like and share. I thank you.